For decades, trying to understand your customers has felt like a slow, expensive guessing game, right? But what if you could get those deep, meaningful insights in minutes, not months? Well, that's the promise of AI in market research. And believe me, it is completely rewriting the rules. Let's dive in and see how.
I want you to picture this. A product manager, it's 2 a.m., and they are just buried under 50 hours of interview footage. The gold is in there, somewhere, but sifting through all of it, transcribing, coding, trying to find those themes, it's this massive Herculean task. By the time they actually have a report ready, the market's already shifted. A critical window of opportunity? It may have just slammed shut.
And this struggle, it's not just about late nights and too much coffee. It's about a fundamental conflict that has plagued market research for years. It's a classic, and frankly, seemingly impossible choice that everyone has to face.
So on one side of the scale, you have depth. This is that rich human why you get from deep qualitative interviews. It's incredibly valuable, but man, is it slow and expensive. Then on the other side, you have speed. The fast quantitative survey data that tells you what is happening, but gives you absolutely zero clues as to why. So teams have been forced to choose one or the other, often launching new products based on incomplete data, which is just a huge gamble.
This impossible choice doesn't just slow things down. It creates this whole series of really frustrating bottlenecks that make the old model feel completely broken, especially in the fast-paced world we live in today.
We can really boil it down to 3 chronic bottlenecks. First, you've got that constant battle between depth and speed that we just talked about. Second is this problem of black box delivery. Research just lands on your desk as a static PDF. You can't ask it follow-up questions. If a new idea pops up, you have to start a whole new project from scratch. And third, and maybe the worst part, the insights are often out of sync, arriving way too late, long after a decision has already been made on a gut feeling.
But what if? What if you could just completely shatter that trade-off? This is where AI comes into the picture, and not just as some small incremental improvement, but as the key to a completely new competitive advantage.
And look, this isn't some fringe idea. When a venture capital giant like Andreessen Horowitz, you might know them as A16Z, says the long era of lagging research is ending, that is a massive signal. The people who are literally funding the future see a huge industry-wide shift on the horizon.
So how exactly does AI solve these bottlenecks? Well, for starters, instead of just guessing what questions to ask, AI can analyze real-time social signals, what people are actually talking about online right now, to design way better surveys. Second, it makes qualitative research scalable. Just imagine running hundreds of deep dive interviews at the same time, instead of just a handful. And third, it totally ends that black box problem by creating living insight libraries where all your research compounds over time, revealing patterns you'd otherwise completely miss. So that's the theory. And it sounds great, right? But what does this actually look like in practice? Let's take a look at how a platform like atypica.ai is turning these powerful concepts into real tools the teams can use today.
Okay, the first tool is called AI Research. And really, the best way to think about it is like having an entire team of expert researchers on call for you 24/7. You just give it a business question and it delivers a deep, actionable report in minutes.
And a process behind this is pretty fascinating. You just ask your business question. The AI then goes out and scans social platforms to understand real customer sentiment. It uses that data to build these incredibly accurate digital models of your customers, which it can then interview at a massive scale. Finally, it distills everything down into a clear, actionable report. It's basically weeks of work compressed into minutes.
And the financial impact? It's just as dramatic. This entire process comes in at roughly 1/100th of the cost of traditional methods. Now, this doesn't just save money, it fundamentally changes the economics of how often you can even afford to go looking for those deep insights.
All right, the next tool is called AI Interview. This is all about scaling the interview process itself. It lets you run professional, unbiased interviews with either real people or those AI-generated personas, and then it automatically generates the insight reports for you.
And putting it to work is so simple. You just set your goals, choose whether you want to talk to real humans or the AI personas, and then the AI interviewer just takes over. It conducts these professional, unbiased conversations. It even asks dynamic follow-ups, and then it delivers the full analysis to you automatically. This chart really puts the difference in scale into perspective. A human researcher, working hard, can realistically handle maybe 6 deep interviews in a day. An AI interviewer, it can run hundreds simultaneously across different time zones, different languages. The human bottleneck is just eliminated.
This brings us to the third tool, and this one is really powerful: the AI persona. Think of it like a digital twin of your ideal customer, a sophisticated simulation built from your own real interview data that you can talk to anytime you need.
So, how do you make one? You simply upload your past interview transcripts. The system analyzes them and, in about a minute, generates a proprietary AI persona. And from that moment on, you can chat with this digital consumer 24/7 to validate a quick idea or get instant feedback. And this is the most crucial point. All that valuable research you've done in the past is no longer just collecting dust in a folder somewhere. It's been transformed into a living, breathing asset that provides always-on intelligence for your entire team.
So when you combine all these tools, the entire research process is just completely transformed. Let's actually look at the before and after side by side to see what I mean.
I mean, just look at this transformation. It's night and day. Early research goes from being led by intuition to being led by real signals. Recruitment drops from weeks to just hours. Interviews scale from a handful a day to literally hundreds. And reporting? That collapses from weeks of painstaking work into minutes. It is a profound shift in speed and intelligence at every single stage.
And this all leads to a final, really crucial idea. This isn't just about making individual research projects faster. It's about fundamentally changing what research is inside an organization. It's a shift from thinking of research as a project to seeing it as a system. This is the ultimate takeaway. AI-driven market research is no longer a nice-to-have, it's not a luxury. It's becoming the foundational infrastructure for modern business, just as essential as your CRM or your cloud servers. You know, for decades, the speed of learning has been the great limiter of innovation. So, we're left with one really powerful question. If knowledge is no longer the bottleneck, what will you build?